guys, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Sarah, and if you're returning, it is lovely to have you back. Welcome to 2023. This will be my first video of 2023. I originally did have a vlog ready to go, but unfortunately every time I uploaded it, the quality was just not there, so I haven't been able to upload it, and unfortunately that also included my book journal. So I'm going to give you a overview of my book journal at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. We are in February, so you guys know what that means. That means we're going to be doing our monthly wrap up. I'm going to be very consistent with this year. I'm really excited to see how we go with YouTube. Hopefully I can keep it up. I am currently filming a vlog as well, so it will be up after this video. So just to give you a quick overview of what I read this month, I read 4 books in total, 3 romances and 1 fantasy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you each book in the order I read it this month. I'll share my rating, my thoughts, and also a little bit of a synopsis of the book, just in case you're interested. So the first book I read this month was The Score by Elle Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Off-Campus series. As you can see behind me, or you can't see, but down here in this shelf I have almost the whole collection of all of Off Campus, and I almost have all of the Briar U. So that's kind of my goal this year, to finish that series. I was obsessed with the first 2 books. I gave them The Deal and The Mistake 5 stars. I loved them. I loved the characters, and I will preface, the book series is not anything spectacular, but for me I kind of just fell in love with the characters, so that's kind of why I gave it a 5 stars. This one, however, I could not get into it for the life of me. It follows Ali and it also follows Dean. So Ali is Hannah's best friend, who is the main character, or the main girl character in book 1, The Deal. And Dean is Garrett's friend. I can't remember the other guy's name from the 2nd book. Basically he lives in the house with those boys. So you get to know these 2 characters from the other 2 books, and I hate Dean. A lot of people hate Dean. I know from talking to some of my friends, when they read this book, they did not like it either. One of my friends said there was like a sweet moment in the end of the book, but I could not bring myself to finish it. I DNF'd it, but I still was almost at the end anyway, so that's why I'm including it. For me, if I DNF a book over 50%, I still include it as I read it, because I gave it a red hot go and I'm not going to pick it up again. So that's why I'm including it, and it's not like I read 20 pages, DNF'd it and put it into this haul. But everyone is each to their own, so if you don't agree with how I DNF, then keep it to yourself. But yeah, that's what I did. I gave it a 2 star. It follows their relationship. Ali is on and off with one of her boyfriends. She's just gotten out of a relationship. She's trying to stay out of the relationship. She has a one-night stand with Dean, and then it just kind of goes downhill from there. But it's a lot of back and forth, and there was just nothing in between. And I think the difference for me was with like Garrett and Hannah, for example. Even though they were back and forth, there was still storylines going on. Like Hannah was focusing on her music scholarship. Garrett was focusing on his hockey. Whether this book, Ali is like, I don't know if I want to be on TV shows or movies, and Dean's like, I don't want to play hockey, I just want to be in law. Like, there was not really anything for the characters themselves. It was just purely based on the relationship. Again, my opinion on that. Then the next book I read, which I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have it with me. It's Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, I believe is the name of the author. And I gave this book 3 stars. For me, YA is very hit or miss, which I will explain in a minute, because my next book is also a YA read. It really depends. And the reason I keep reading them is not because I'm trying to get into them. It's purely because sometimes I love them and sometimes I'm just like, it's too young for me. And for me personally, Better Than the Movies, the concept was phenomenal, but I'm just too old for it. I just think it was not hitting the mark for me because of my age, and it would be definitely a 5-star read if I had been in high school. I'd say year 7 and 8. That would have been phenomenal for me, a great book to read. But just with my age, I just could not connect with it. So I still gave it a 3 stars because I loved the concept of the book. I loved the characters. However, it just was not the right age category for me. Can't remember the name of the characters, which is so bad of me. Basically follows a girl who lost her mum at a young age. I think she's in her senior year. Yeah, senior year of high school, battling all these big milestones without her mum there, and kind of has a crush on one of these guys that's come back into town. He used to live in town when they were younger, and so she kind of connects with this other guy on the street, which they're basically enemies, kind of an enemies to lovers trope. He helps her try and get him by fake dating, and yeah, kind of just obviously spirals off, and she ends up starting to like him you kind of get the point of that. But yeah, the concept was there. The other cool thing was that Lynn Painter added a lot of like lyrics into the book from songs or playlists that were made to relevant to the characters. It was just a really cool concept, and there was a lot of modern additions to the book that you could relate to. So that's why I also gave it a 3-star, is because even though I personally found the book too young for me, there was still a lot of references that I understood and I thought they were cool. I know some people don't like the addition of modern references because the whole point of reading a book for them is to escape, but for me I don't mind a little bit of hints of reality here and there. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say on that book, but I would recommend reading it if you do like YA, or you kind of just want a simple read, a simple straightforward read. The next book I read, which is again also a YA, was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've had this on my bookshelf for a year now. Finally picked it up. I loved it. I gave this book did I give it 3 stars? Did I really give this 3 stars? I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 3-star read only because, again, it's very much a fantasy world that I'm still not quite used to. At points I felt it was slow, and this book is apparently very much based on... I saw a TikTok of someone talking about this book and they said it's kind of the epitome. It embodies some sort of fantasy. I can't remember off the top of my head now, but they were saying that this kind of embodies a type of fantasy very well in terms of fairies and all that. Like, the fairy is an actual type of fairy. Like, you know, obviously it's myths and all that, but it's kind of based on those type of fairies. There's no adaptations to it by the author. So I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be picking up the next book. I do want to continue with this series, and I do know the second book is quite popular in comparison to the first book, so I have high hopes for it. Not too high, but I have some hopes for it. And yeah, I did enjoy it. It follows 3 siblings. One was born to a fairy, and the other 2 are human. They are twins. So Matic is the father, the fairy father, and he's the father to Vivi. And Vivi's mother at a very young age ran away with Vivi. Vivi's mum's human, and she was married to Maddox, I believe, but she ran away with one of Maddox's very talented craftsmen. She fell in love with him. They ran away and they had 2 kids together. He was also human, so they had 2 twins, Jude and Karen. So the main character is Jude, and it follows how the 3 of them were abducted again by Matic. Matic killed their parents, took them back to the realm, and it follows their story growing up there. Jude's goal is to become a knight for Maddox, or for the royal family. Karen just wants to set up a life and have a family, and Vivi just is so desperate to get back into the human world. So you kind of follow those concepts throughout the book, and by the end of it there's also Carden, which is their stepbrother, and yeah, it kind of follows all that story, and it's very well written. I will say it's very interesting. I honestly can't remember why I gave it a 3 stars, because technically I feel like it could have been a 4-star, but I think at points it was slow for me, so I think that's why I bumped it down. And sometimes the concepts were a little bit boring, or I felt a bit repetitive, but overall I would recommend this book. I think it's a good series from the one book I have read, but I'm very excited to pick up the next one. I'm just waiting to go down to Canberra because I have a book voucher from one of my friends who lives in Canberra, and I'm going to go use it down there, so I'll get the second one with that one. But yeah, I'm very excited to read it. And the final book of this month, which was also my favorite book of the month, it is a 5-star read. Obviously it's my top pick for January, and so therefore it's also in my 2023 bracket, which I'll show you at the end. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I've heard so many mixed reviews on this book. Some people said it's a waste of time, don't read it. Others have raved about it, so I kind of went in open-minded. I loved this book. It is the most heartwarming book you've ever read. It follows a girl called Naomi who is a twin, and her twin's name, I'm so bad with characters' names. Once I've read the book I cannot remember for the life of me any characters' names. So it follows Knox and Naomi. Naomi is a twin. Her twin's name is Tina. She is a runaway bride, Naomi. She comes to this town because Tina is asking for help. Tina's troubled. Tina causes so many issues. She's basically banned from the town, and Tina tells her she needs help, so she comes with money, which she normally does because Naomi's kind of that person that always tries to mend things and cause less issues. So she comes in town and Tina, well actually I can't say that because it kind of just like spoils the first part of the book. Oh no, it says it on the back. Okay, so none of this is spoilers because it says on the back. So Naomi comes into town with the cash and Tina steals her car, steals her cash, and Naomi runs into Knox. Knox confuses her for Tina, basically has a go for him. It's Grumpy Sunshine. Probe if you did not get that message. Tina has a daughter. Tina leaves the daughter to Naomi. So all of a sudden, Tina is a single mum looking after Waylay with basically Knox at her back the whole time trying to help. But also being a bit grumpy the whole time. I just loved it. I love small town romances. When they're done really well, it's just so phenomenal. It's mystery, it's romance. More romance than mystery, but I think what I love so much about this book is the romance was not the main priority in the book. Lucy did a very good job at writing about the story behind it, you know, raising Waylay, watching her develop as a young woman, or sorry, as a girl, from someone who had a mother who didn't really care about her education to having a mother who cared about her education, her having friends who are having out-school activities, things like that. So it's just very well done, and it's also so interesting to watch Naomi's character develop, same as Knox's, hearing their secrets, hearing their past. I could not recommend this book more. It is 400 and something pages and I read every single one with a smile on my face, and I'm so excited for the next book because the next book is about Nash, which is Knox's brother, so I'm very excited about it. But yeah, this was my top pick of the month, and that is all the books for this month. But I'm gonna go and head on to show you my book journal now. Okay, so here is my journal. It is a Moleskine journal if you're wondering. I don't know the size of it, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is a wide journal. I love the wider journals. I think the only thing I'll be doing next time is getting a different brand of journal. Usually I'm pretty good at researching what is the best bullet journal in terms of the paper thickness and the style of paper. The original bullet journal I had, the paper was perfect thickness, but the consistency of it changed the color of my pens and textures and stuff like that when I would draw on and color in, so I wasn't really a fan of that. And also it was just small for me and I wanted a bigger journal, so I did purchase this one this year before I did create the journal. I will be honest, I created the reading journal in that other bullet journal and then redid it in here, but it was a good opportunity to change things or add things if I wanted to. And yeah, so please ignore the bleeding through on the pages. There's not much I can do about it, and I still love the journal nonetheless, and I'll be filling it up, and then when I need a new one I will be getting a very similar size to this because I love the size of it, just better paper. When you open up my bullet journal, the first page is just a title page stating the year, which is obviously 2023. I do want to preface, majority of the layouts in this book are inspired by Pinterest layouts and also YouTubers, but I do want to preface the YouTubers that I've copied, they've also copied Pinterest. So Pinterest is kind of the core foundation for my bullet journal. Then moving on to the next two pages, I have my references and reading goals. So my references just includes the colors that I've chosen for each star rating. So like purple is 5 stars. And then my reading goals over here, which include read 30 books, read 3 non-fiction books. Don't be afraid to DNF because that is something I am terrible at. I'm too scared to DNF half the time. Read more on my Kindle. Be consistent with my reading journal. Be consistent with comparing physical book prices with Kindle prices. I did not realize how cheap Kindle books can be, so I'm going to be more conscious of the books I'm physically buying, are the books I want to display on my bookshelf, and if I don't really care about them being in my bookshelf, I'm going to just purchase them on my Kindle because number one, it's cheaper, and number two, it leaves space for books I actually do want to put on my shelf. Read all physical TBR books. I highly doubt this is going to be possible because I have about 70 physical TBR books. However, I will do my best to get the number down as much as possible this year and then continue on with that next year. And I want to finish 3 series. Don't know what that series is, those 3 series are going to be yet, but that's why I've just left it as a broad thing because I want to be able to have that flexibility to choose those series. Then my next spread is my 2023 releases. Yes, I have not written them in chronological order. Please don't come for me. I just kind of started and then realized that there were other books coming out and it was too late to white out and try again. But yeah, I'm very excited. I haven't really done a lot with this spread. I will have to add more to it, but it's just kind of a page that if I wanted to see an overview of what is to come out, then yeah, why not? Moving on to my next spread, it is my monthly rating. So it just gives me an overview of how many books were in each star category, if that makes sense. So obviously you can see this month I had 1 5-star, 0 4 stars, 2 3 stars, yeah, and 1 2 star. As you can see, and obviously 0 1 star, so I forgot to put a 0. Then I have my genre tracker. So my genre tracker is just a more detailed outline of how many books I read in terms of genre. So obviously for January, for example, I read 3 romances, 0 mystery, 0 non-fiction, 1 fantasy, 0 memoir, 0 thriller, and 0 other types of genres. So yeah, and then moving up, it's a more broader one with just me writing out how many books I read in the month, because obviously even though it's easy to see now, it will get to the point where I won't remember where each month ends. So this just allows me to see how many I've got, and when I film it's more practical that way. Then over here I have my book goal tracker. I've got my little key down here which I've color coded each genre, and as you can see I've matched these 2 up here. It's just like a cool way kind of track my books. I did really want to put a lot of trackers in my journal, so I had fun filling them in at the end of each month. My goal is 30, but I just put it up to 70 just to give me that room, and I've also got more room if I want to add anything else. Then we move on to this spread. This spread shows every book I've read for the year, but it names the book rather than me just color coding the genre of the book. And as you can see, I've written all the books for January. They all fit on one shelf, and I color coded them based on their rating, which is down here as you can see. And then the next page is my 5-star favorites for each month, and as you can see January was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I'm very excited to see what I write in for each month, which then leads me on to my next spread, which is my 2023 bracket. This is kind of an overview of my top book for each month, and then I will move over to here and write that book in regards to the book bracket. So obviously January is Things We Never Got Over, and then once I write February I'll choose which one I preferred the most, put it into the next slot, and then it will slowly get to our winner for 2023. Very excited to see who wins this year, and it also just keeps me consistent with reading because I do have to obviously have a book for each month. Moving on, I have my TBR declutter. This layout was actually kind of my idea. I didn't look anything up on Pinterest, but I have found layouts obviously since then, but I will take credit for this layout. This is every single book that's on my bookshelf currently that I need to read. As you can see, I've already read 3 off my bookshelf, which I'm very happy about and very proud of, and I'm doing the same thing over back here with this layout. I'm just writing the book and color coding based on the rating I gave it. So hopefully we can have majority of these books colored in by the end of the year, but we shall see how we go. And then next to it, the next layout is the A to Z reading challenge. I'm so excited to see how I go with this challenge. I've done well so far. The Lost Apothecary is what I'm currently reading, so I wrote it in because I'm almost finished it anyway, so I know I will not DNF it. And yeah, so as you can see, I've got Better Than the Movies, The Cruel Prince, Things We Never Got Over, and The Lost Apothecary. So we're starting to get somewhere. I did do the exception of a lot of books do start with the, so I've taken that. I've used the exception of I can take the out and use the first letter of the next word in the title. Otherwise it would be a lot more difficult to find books to match. I know these ones are going to be hard, and I know some YouTubers have made the exception of if it has X in its title somewhere, then that counts as the book for X or Z. So yeah, I might end up having to do that if I struggle. Then my next page, this is from Rachel Catherine, who I think got it off Pinterest, but I'm obsessed with what she did. So on the left is my series tracker. I've written them all down here, as you can see, and then I just color them in as I read them, and obviously they match the title, so I'm very excited to see the progress of this year. And then moving on over here is the series tracker, but in a detailed version. So for example, the Folk of the Air series, I've just written the Folk of the Air series and I color it in, but over here I've written the title of each book in the series, so I can tick them off my list, and I'm very excited to see how I go. This also follows on over here. Yeah, so we'll see how we go. We'll see what I get up to reading this year, how many series I complete, and yeah, I'm just very excited overall to see how we go. And then, funny enough, I did not have this done when I first filmed this video, so I think it's exciting to have this to show you guys. But this is kind of what I'm planning to do. I'm really only interested in scrapbooking my 5 and 4-star reads, so obviously I only had 1 5-star read this month. I didn't have 4 stars, so I did my Things We Never Got Over scrapbooking page, and I'm obsessed with how it turns out, you guys. Oh, I love it. These flowers were tedious to cut out, but it was so worth it in the end. Pinterest is an incredible resource, may I add. I literally just searched up the title of the book, wrote aesthetic, and this is everything that came up. Like, people are just incredible, and I love Pinterest. It's one of the only social medias I would never live without. So I'm very excited how it turned out. I love it, love it, love it, and I cannot wait to fill this journal up even more with spreads like this. It's just so exciting to me, and it gives me something to do and something fun and entertaining to do. I can't be bothered to move. I've literally just turned the camera around, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I read in January and also seeing a outline of my book journal. I'm very excited to continue that this year and also just have a really good reading year. This is the first year where I have a routine, I'm consistent, I'm not planning on moving or going anywhere, and I know what I'm doing, so I know damn well this is going to be a very good reading year. But yeah, I will talk to you all in my next video whenever that comes out. Please don't forget to like this video if you do enjoy it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all later on. Bye guys.